Hey everybody, this is HD. Welcome back. I'm here to bring you guys another set of games from the IPL5 Korean Regional Qualifier. Hope you guys are all excited about this one because I'm going to be showing you guys a match with Nestea today, another star player from the GSL, IM.Nestea. He will be the blue Zerg at the 12 o'clock position. Some would say one of the top 3 Zergs right now. I think it's up between him, Donrigu, and Symbol. And for those of you guys who've been keeping up to date with the current iteration of the GSL, I think it is Symbol, Nestea, and Donrigu who are all in the round of 16 plus, I believe. So that's this should be a pretty exciting set. And his opponent is going to be his teammate. It is IM.Ready. And Ready actually known more from the GSTL, I believe, where he, I think he made his debut against Squirtle last year. And, you know, anytime you get to watch a match between 2 players from the same team, especially when it's between Incredible Miracle, it's always a good set to watch because they always put on the greatest spectacles. You know, they know each other's playstyle, and, you know, they're really good friends. Obviously, they live together. They know each other inside and out, as inside and out as you can know each other. And, well, when it comes to StarCraft too, and I think that really makes for some very, very interesting matches. Now, obviously, Nestea, I think, the better caliber player. He's always there when he comes into play. He always has a good shot of making it all the way through a tournament. So that's something you always have to be scared of. Obviously, a 3-time Code S champion in his own right. And I don't know too much about Ready. I think his old screen name was Nuts. I am Nuts. So it should be a pretty good match. I'm pretty excited to see what happens here. But before it gets underway, just wanted to say some interesting scientific development in the community. For those of you guys who may stay up to date with science and physics and all that stuff, obviously the Higgs boson has been tentatively discovered, which is such big news, man, for us, our evolution as a species. I think. I think it's the biggest discovery since, God, I don't know, the quark, and maybe before that, like, you know, the scientific theories behind, you know, special relativity and all that stuff. It's actually really, really cool. And if you guys don't know anything about that, go look it up. It's pretty freaking awesome. But I'm really big science buff. You know, I took physics in high school and college, and fortunately, I didn't get a physics degree, but I do know a little bit about that, and I try to stay up to date with it. Anyways. Getting back to StarCraft 2 here, the land of science fiction, we have IM.Nestea going for the hatchery all the way over at this location here. Now, he does have a spawning pool up already, so he has 2 Zerglings on the field. Note, you know, I didn't catch it. I was talking about the discovery of the Higgs boson, so I was a little not paying attention, but I think Ready might have blocked that hatchery, and that's the reason why Nestea decided to go for the one over here. And now Ready's kind of thinking, well, Nestea didn't get the hatchery at the natural, so I'm going to go ahead and check the 3rd. And unfortunately for him, he doesn't see the hatchery at the 3rd either. Now, at this point, Ready's going to assume 2 things. And you know, Nestea is the kind of player who can play really aggressively and crazy, and that's why I think, especially since you're his teammate, you have to go in and confirm, and that's why he's gone in here and he's checked, okay, the hatchery is coming up. It's not some type of one-base play. And I was going to say there's 2 options. Either Nestea's going for something crazy, or he's going to have the 3rd hatchery coming up at this pocket location. And I think at this point, Ready should know, all right, it didn't come up here, so it must have came up over here at the middle pocket of Atlantis spaceship. This is a great spot, by the way, for gas. And gas is one of the most important factors in Zerg play, at the late game, especially because you need Broodlords, you need Infestors in every matchup. They are so important. Upgrades also vital to your success because you have so many units on the field, so those upgrades are, it's like they're even more important when you're Zerg because you've got so many swarming around and moving across the map, and you can hit with so many different things at once. So at this point, I think Ready should be able to just kind of intelligently assume that, yes, there's a hatchery coming up, and look at that, he already knows. Okay, so he must have grabbed the tower, or maybe he poked in there and saw it earlier on. So now at this point, we kind of have this interesting development because in Zerg versus Protoss today, it's actually the matchup that has shortened the most. You know, Zerg versus Terran, Zerg versus Zerg even, and even PvP and TVT, obviously, have all kind of considerably lengthened. People have understood the matchup more, and we're seeing the matchups getting much longer. ZVP actually has shortened a lot because of Safano's Max Roach style and how he hits the enemy base, and at the same time now Protoss trying to blind counter the Max Roach style by going one gate robo, and that's what we see here, one gate robo opening for IM.Ready, and the whole strategy behind that I think is, you know, Protoss will get the Immortals out, they'll get a bunch of gateways, 3 Immortals, 4 Immortals, or even more, and they'll make a push and try to end the game before the Zerg can get all those roaches on the field, or at least they have enough Immortals to deflect the roaches. So it's actually the matchup that has shortened the most, but the interesting dynamic here, I think, is that Nestea grabbed this expansion. And I'll reiterate again, because of that extra gas, I think we're going to see Nestea look to go right into Infestors here. He's already got 3rd and 4th up. In fact, he might skip Infestors and go right for Mutas as well. Muta-Ling is a strategy that works really well against Protoss, and it's especially effective against Protosses that try to blind counter roaches, because if you go one gate robo, and you add on more gateways, your ability to deflect mutas is very limited, and we can see here that the Overlord came in and it saw the robotics facility. That's so big. Before it died, it did catch a glimpse of it, and immediately what does Nestea do? He goes for the Spire, man. He's got a Spire coming up right now. In fact, he's even mining the Rich Geyser. He's got 4 drones on it, so his gas income here is going to be astronomical. 780, 800 plus right now per minute, and the Spire is coming up right there at the natural. So we're going to have a Muta-Ling composition coming out for Nestea, and I really like Mutas on this map as well, for a similar reason why I think Medevacs are good. You've got a lot of dead space to work with on the edges of the map. Mutalisks can also be very effective at using those lanes as well. And let's see, we got a couple of Zerglings coming in here. Just going to get popped off right there by the Sentries and the Stalker. But keep your eyes peeled out, guys, because Mutas are on the way. Now, does Ready know the Spire's coming? Yes, he does. Observer comes in at a really good time right there to check out what's going on, and that's such a big Observer scout right there. And Nestea knows now his mutas have been detected, and it's too late to cancel the Spire. It would be way too big of a loss to try to switch right now. You're gonna have to just go for the mutas and hope you can catch Ready off, because you still have that composition advantage. You know, the Protoss is still working off gateways and robos, and Ready has to get a Twilight Council. In fact, the Twilight Council just finished up right now, so he's got to research Blink immediately for his Stalkers in order to keep mobile with the Mutalist. Right now, he's also making that attack. He feels like he's got an opportunity here to maybe strike before the mutas come out, and maybe, you know, offensive being the better defense here. You know, he knows he can't defend the mutas at home, but he can pull the mutas back to defend rather than being aggressive on his bases. And it looks like he is actually going to snap off this hatchery really easily. No response from Nestea, and that was such a good timing attack. All based off of that Observer Scout, knowing that mutas, they're coming out, but I've got this small window where I can push, and I might be able to take out a hatchery or do really critical damage to the Zerg, or at the very least, you know, keep the mutas at home and not attacking my base. So that was big play right there, and Nestea knows that he has suffered a huge loss. He's going to have to try to go for a counterattack with Zerglings here. I will say, though, that Nestea's macro is still very, very good. You know, I was watching him play, I think 2 days ago. His macro, man, his ability to inject larva, his ability to hit all those timings and get maxed out is uncanny. He's one of the best macro Zergs in the world. And even though he suffered that hatchery loss, he's still really winning the supply war right now, 147 to 114. And keep in mind, that is with Muta-Ling. When you're ahead this far supply with Muta-Ling, that is extremely impressive, because a lot of your supply is just going into Zerglings, and they're really not, you know, they're not that supply intensive like, say, like roaches are. So to be this high in supply with Muta-Ling is really good for Nestea. You know, unlike if you were maxed out with roaches right now, it would be like, oh, okay, that's pretty decent, but not amazing. And I think a lot of that also has to come down to the fact that he was able to mine this gas for a really long time. He actually made a lot of gas over at that location, and look at his drones, 91 workers right now. Wow, this is incredible from Nestea, going in for an attack right now while he's re-expanding over to the pocket gas, and I love the positioning on the Mutalisks. He keeps him over that iFly self-skydiving platform. I don't even know what you call that. The chimney, I guess, and he's able to keep him out of harm's way. Really nice play. Nestea has a ton of mutas on the map, 28 Mutalisks right now with +1 weapons and +2 on the way. Protoss knows he's in trouble. Ready has to get Templars out. He's trying to get Templar Archives right now. He's already finished Blink for his Protoss forces. He's also he's ahead in upgrades, actually. He's about to finish +2 right now, which is a big big upgrade. He needs, if he's not going to have enough to combat the raw forces from Nestea, then he needs to have enough upgrades to stay toe-to-toe with the Zerg. And I really like how he's at least kept that department up and going right now. And there's a little bit of oversaturation here, even on the gas and the mineral stacks, and Nestea realizes that, immediately starts to throw down crawlers, because he's got so many workers, man. He had like 90-something. And in the mid game, that's really great to have. But towards the late game, you really want to kind of throw that into just crawlers to free up supply. And we do have an attack here from Nestea, going in with his +1 mutas, but the Stalkers have 2 weapons and 1 armor. However, Nestea might have enough to take out this army of Stalkers. Just too many Mutalisks here. No, he will not, with the blink coming in at the last second there for Ready, starting to blink micro, that is, to keep them alive. And there you guys can see, even though that's a lot of mutas, those Stalkers with those heavy upgrades can outpower them. And then when Blink comes into play, it just really becomes a situation you don't want to throw your Mutalisks away into. We do have Psionic Storm on the way right now. Templar, Archons, Charge Lots is an extremely effective way to deal with Mutaling. And when the Templar and Archons start coming out, Nestea's going to want to start to think about maybe going into Roaches, and then up into Hive, because he doesn't want to stay on Lair forever. The kind of drawback to that, though, is because when you go for Mutaling, you invest so much gas into mutas. Look how many mutas are on the map, that it really makes it hard, I think, to go into Hive mode. Sometimes you kind of pigeonhole yourself to going just straight Roaches, which isn't bad either to deal with the Archons and Templars for reasons I said before. But that hatchery, I think, was not detected, so that is a nice little ninja hatch for Nestea. Nestea's got to be careful here. The storm is coming in, and Ready could get a massive storm. Oh man, that one was a critical blow. Nestea takes a lot of damage, didn't lose any Mutalisks though, so he was able to at least... Oh, storm comes in though! More storms! It is really nasty weather out here, and Ready, it looks like, is going to be able to hold on to his bases against the Zergling counterattack. Nice thing for Nestea, even though he lost some Zerglings there though, is he did get a scout. He does know now that the Archon Templar switch is completed, and that's what's on the way right now. So it's going to be a good idea, I think, like I said before, for Nestea to get some Hive units out, and it looks like he's starting to work up that Hive, even getting Pathogen Glands, so that's a good idea. Meanwhile, Muta's flying up into the map, seeing more gateways coming out. Workers killed so far, only 1 apiece. Wow, both these players have done a phenomenal job of keeping their workers alive, and that is really, really big. Congratulations to them for just being so skillful and adept at keeping the harass at bay so far from both sides. Units lost 6,600 to 4,500, so Nestea's suffering just a bit more. It looks like a War Prism coming in here, maybe to do a little bit more damage. Mutas, meanwhile, on the left side, looking to potentially strike against that army. I don't know if that's a good idea, though. Nestea has some Zerglings back at home to deal with the War Prism harass. Nice job right there, and along with the Spine Crawler, should be able to hold off these 1-3 Zealots. Zerglings at 1-1 upgrades. I think Nestea really is a little bit behind in upgrades right now, but he has that Wall of Crawl that he placed up earlier, and that helps defend against this Protoss attack. Even some Changelings mixed in the army as well, giving some nice information back to Nestea. Nestea flying in with all these mutas though, but he keeps them. A magic box, just like how you would use mutas against Thors to mitigate that splash damage from the storm. And, you know, just kind of flies in there and does a little bit of damage, but not committing. Meanwhile, sending a couple of Zerglings down to the south as well. And I think right now what Nestea is doing is just trying to buy time to get Hive out. He knows that Muta Zergling is not the end-all be-all composition. Once Protoss gets Archons and Templars out, very, very hard to deal with that. And he's trying to buy time to get Brood Lords and get maybe even Banelings out. Baneling Ultra is another composition you can use. Meanwhile, Muta's coming in here. Let's see how much more time he can buy. Muta's trying to dodge the storm. And right now, Nestea, you know, he can afford to lose Mutas. He actually wants to lose a couple Mutas to free up supplies. So that's kind of his strategy right now. He wants to run in there, do damage. It's okay if he loses Mutalisks as long as they pay off for themselves, because he needs to free up capacity for better units on the field. And it looks like he is going to lose the hatchery down at the bottom right, so that Ninja Hatch will go down. Currently 1, 2, 3, 4 bases for the Zerg. Oh, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Protoss. Obviously not all of them mining right now, but Protoss is actually pulling ahead in this game. I think Nestea's mutilating composition starting to run into that brick wall. Starport also on the way for Ready, and that of course is an indication for the mothership. Nestea tries to run in here. He knows he's got to play the base race game. If he's going to go mutiling, you cannot fight that army head on. You have to go around and try to hit the Protoss bases, and right now he's going in with the Muta circling, but his bases are under attack. 3 Spine Crawlers are the only line of defense for Nestea, and I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on there. Muta's here encountering the 1-3 Stalkers along with Blink. They just can't hold up to that kind of firepower, and Nestea is going to lose another hatchery. And all of a sudden, the game's starting to look a little bit downturned here for the Zerg player. But don't forget, guys, he still has the Hive Tech ready to go, also remobilizing all of his crawlers to deflect against this attack. And I think what Nestea's kind of banking on here is not the late game, but rather getting a bunch of Brood Lords and Infestors out and just going for an all-out death push, because he knows he's lost too many bases here to try to play macro at this point. So he's going to try to rely on the element of basically kind of like a surprise. Hey, I've got Brood Lords and Ultras, what are you going to do? And that's kind of his strategy right now, but Ready is, no pun intended, kind of ready for this because he's got the Fleet Beacon coming out, and everybody knows the Mothership is the counter to Brood Lord Infestor, assuming you can get a couple of those Vortexes down. So this is going to be a pretty interesting turnout here. Will the element of surprise for Nestea be enough to get him back in this game? He is suffering wildly in supply, the 137 to under 200, and has to lose another hatchery. So it is looking quite grim for him right now. And not to mention, Ready is mining a lot of money right now, and he's kind of just storing that up, ready to go at any time. And oh, the feedback's coming out. Will Nestea be able to hold on? Of course, he's still got that wall of crawl. He's going to have to get those Brood Lords out. Brood Lords starting to come out onto the field right now. And will Nestea be able to surprise Ready? He's going to bungle and keep the Stalkers in place so they cannot move out of the way. And now the Brood Lords are going to have to go to work, but the feedbacks come out to strike the Infestors, and no more bungles can come as a result of that. Now Nestea is running on borrowed time. Every minute he waits, the Protoss is able to get the correct units on the field to deal with Brood Lord Infestor, and I really don't know if Nestea wants to bide his time for too long here. I really think he should make an attack as soon as possible and, you know, just go for it, you know, go for the win. Otherwise, you know, the longer he waits, Mothership is coming out, more banked resources for the Protoss, and look at this huge army of Stalkers. Oh my god. That is a lot of Blink Stalkers now at 2-3, 3-3 about to come, or 3 armor that is. And I don't know, I think actually Nestea might lose this game to his teammate. It is certainly looking quite grim here as Ready is just moving across the map. And I don't know if Nestea just running out of bases, doesn't have enough money to work off of. You know, the Mutiling composition, like I said, it's more of a mid-game base trade style that you have to play, and I don't think that Ready fell into that trap. Ready kind of traded toe for toe with Nestea in this game, and then started to come out ahead, and really the Mutiling composition just it's just not that good in the late game, as you guys can see by how this game has kind of turned out. But will Nestea be able to make something happen out of this? I don't think so, but it is Nestea, and that is a lot of Brood Lords. Wow, that is 14 Brood Lords, not to mention the 2 that are morphing right now. So about 16 Brood Lords right now, and you know what? Ready actually doesn't have Void Rays coming out right now. Obviously, it's a preference thing. I think a lot of Protosses like to use Void Ray Mothership Archon against Brood Lords, but you can just also use Stalker Mothership Archon as well. The only reason why I'm a little concerned is I don't know if Ready has enough to I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. The thing is, even if Ready loses this fight, he can remacro so easily. Look at his bank, man. 3,500 gas. That's a lot of Templars that can hit the field right away, and they'll all become Archons, and then you've got a real nightmare if you're Zerg. So this will be interesting. Nestea is getting Neural Parasite right now, hasn't tapped out yet, and you know, he's almost come back to max, sort of. He's at 161 supply right now. Ready, just waiting for the Mothership. And I think as soon as the Mothership comes in, he will go in for an attack. We have a little bit of Muta skirmish out here on this side of the map. I don't really know what's going on with that, but a solo Stalker should be more than enough to deal with these two mutas. And here we go. Ready coming in with the Mothership Stalker combination, and Nestea does not have Neuroparasite ready yet, so he will not be able to get a Tentacle on the Mothership, and what a Vortex, as well as feedbacks. Oh, this is such a good engage by Ready, and Ready doesn't even need to send the Archons into the Vortex. Why not, right? And is he going to send him in? Yeah, there we go. Send a couple of those suckers in there, and Nestea is in so much trouble right now that I don't really know what he can do. He's out of the game. This is a best of 3 though, so it's not over yet. But Nestea really getting crushed by Ready in this match, and that's why I say, you know, when you play against your teammate, expect the unexpected. You never know. Even the underdog can come out and take you down, and so that's what we just saw happen here. Nestea has to GG out to his teammate IM.Ready, and we're gonna see what happens in game number 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this cast, and make sure to subscribe if you guys did. I'll see you guys in game 2 of this set. This is HD StarCraft signing out.